And I just want to show how well Max is defending in this race, because he doesn't have the pace. He's struggling with braking, he's struggling with understeer, and the Red Bull on the hard tyre just isn't very happy. Norris now has 6 laps better tyres. He's got better pace, and he's charging for the back of Verstappen. So, firstly, Max covers the inside line. Could Lando possibly have squeezed right down the inside up to the white line? Possibly, but I'm fairly sure that Max would have reacted had Lando tried to shape for that one as well. So he's covering the inside line there pretty well. There's nothing here that Lando can do. So Lando's on the better line, which gives you a chance to get the better exit and an attack at the next corner, which is where we're headed now. But once again now, Max is just fairly well white lining it to the inside of turn 13. And only at the point now where Lando cannot go for the inside, he has to apply some pressure. He goes on the outside. Max has got that one covered off. And once again now, we're coming through. The McLaren turns better. It's got better rotation, better grip at this stage. They're side by side. Lando really just wants to get to the inside line. But once again, Max is just holding his rival on the outside. And there is nothing here that Lando can do. So once again, we're looking for a switchback pass. Once again, we're trying to get a bit of traction. But once again, you have Max on the inside line now, heading to this quadruple right-hander towards the end of the lap. And it's the same case at the start of the lap as well. When Lando was attacking into turn 1, Max could defend it, knowing he'd then have the inside for the right-hander at turn 2, and you're never going to pass in the high-speed sweepers. So brilliant defence from Verstappen, placing his car exactly where he had to be. And it was frustrating Norris so much, as obviously this was the big move in the context of the championship and for podium place. So we head to lap 52, and now Norris is closer than he's been before. Verstappen's struggling more and more. We've got 4 laps to go to the end of the race, and there's a big opportunity. So Norris has the DRS. Verstappen's now struggling and covers once again that inside line. Again, Lando thinks about the full send to the inside, but he's wary of it. There's now loads of space on the outside. Could Lando have gone for the inside? Possibly, but might Max have just continued to shut the door? Probably. So Lando does the thing that he's probably expecting to be the only way against Max here. Goes to the outside, and he's marginally ahead coming into the corner. But what's crucial is where they're at the apex of the corner. So Verstappen carries the speed in, and critically, when we get to the apex, he definitely has a nose ahead. So as we play this one through, Verstappen goes off the track, Norris goes off the track, but he has definitely now passed Verstappen off the road, and that is not going to be a legitimate pass. You have to make a pass on the road, or you have to be a long way ahead coming into the corner, at least ahead by the apex, to say that you've been pushed off and be entitled to make that pass then off the track, which is pretty rare that ever happens. Lando got on the radio. McLaren said he was ahead at the apex. That's an error from McLaren. He should have given up this position, because really, I think this one was pretty much a slam dunk that Norris was penalised. And of course, he was in the end.
I guess they got a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, they gave you 5 seconds just at the end there for leaving the track, gaining an advantage. Not sure why.
Oh yeah, well then I should have just gone back behind him, shouldn't I?
But there's a complicating factor here. Max was also off the road, and that's what McLaren were clinging to as this one unfolded then. He did pass off the road. I think the stewards were right to penalise Lando. I think the sensible position here had to be for McLaren to give this position up. Behind at the apex and then sweeping past off the road. But should Max have been given a penalty as well for actually forcing Lando off the road? And that's another question. Had Max stayed on the track at this point, then it's a no-brainer. It's good defence. He's ahead at the apex, and Lando clearly sweeps around the track off the road. It's an egregious off-the-road pass. But the complicating factor here is that Max also goes considerably off the track as well. He slows it right down, desperate to hold it on, but he's also off the road. So if you're defending this hard, getting ahead at the apex, but you actually, even as the defending car, can't keep the car on the track at the exit, then I think that opens up the possibility that you have definitely forced a driver off the road. And the interesting thing is, we look at the telemetry for Max and Lando here. You've got Max in the red, Lando in the blue. And what I want to show you is the brake trace here. You have a very conventional brake trace from Lando, who comes on, hits the brake pedal really hard. The blue line comes up, and then it's coming down gradually as the downforce is wearing off, and you reduce the deceleration. What happens for Max here is he slams on the brake pedal and then sees that he's going to be behind probably at the apex. So he releases the brakes. And that means that his speed momentarily picks up. It gives him the advantage of getting to the apex ahead. But it also means he actually no longer can keep the car on the track, on the exit. It's not an easy one, this one for the stewards. We're into the grey areas where Max operates so often in a race. We saw it on lap 1, we saw it again on lap 52. I think Norris's penalty was a mistake from McLaren, and they had to give that place back and then hope that the stewards would penalise Max for forcing him off the road rather than try and keep the place. And he still had 4 more laps to try and make the pass. For Verstappen, I think he'll be very happy with the outcome of that one, no doubt.
Well, that was definitely a positive weekend, of course, but there's still quite a few points that we need to collect. But yeah, of course, very happy to at least extend it now for once compared to the last few weekends.
I think in the bigger picture here as well, this is not the racing that we really want to see. We want to see the lap after lap battles that we had before this, with Lando fighting for a way through. But in the end, drivers being forced off the road or overtaking off the track, racing to the apex, and then even if the driver on the inside is ahead at the apex but off the road on the exit, is not a fair way to try and defend a position. So Lando's certainly not fair overtaking off the track, but I don't think Max was fair either in his defence. So I wouldn't be surprised if the rules get tweaked slightly because, certainly we want to see drivers being given a little bit more space, certainly in attack, but also with defence. A bit more margin for error on both ways, and this battle would go on for a few more corners.
Considering Max went off the track, normally if you defend your position and you go off the track, you have to give the position up. In that case, I was ahead, I kept my position because he needed to give it back. And that's the way it is. So I think I did the correct thing. But I don't make the rules.